How to become a middle-class millionaire. That's what we're going to look at in this video. Our channel is called $1,000,000 Made Easy. I want to show you the importance of just investing $200 a month. We use the S&P 500 for the last 100 years. If you just invest $200 a month, these are the actual numbers if you have the time. These are the actual numbers for each of the time periods. For example, the 35-year frame right here. How many times would you make it to $1,000,000 if the returns were like they were in the last 100 years? In other words, this is the 1924 numbers going down through here. I've got that picked out. This is the graph for 1924. Looks like you'd be just over $1,000,000 after 35 years. But in this whole column, 39% of the time you get to $1,000,000. Let's go out to the 40-year column. 40-year column, 98% of the time you get to $1,000,000. Notice the difference between 35 years, 39, and 40 years and 45 years. Not only do you get to $1,000,000, but 84% of the time you get to $2,000,000. Folks, this is with $200 a month. Now, of course, we need to realize these amounts aren't going to have the same buying power. So up here, I run a 3% inflation rate for these different time periods. So for example, this 1.4437 had a buying power of 440,000 after 40 years. You'd be a millionaire, but that buying power, that 1.4 million would only have the buying power of 440,000, but you'd still be so much better off than so many people. Okay, let's just up that a little bit. Let's say you can put in $350 a month. We're going to update this, and we're going to change the numbers. Actually, we haven't even been increasing it. We need to increase these amounts because you're not going to stay at the same amount. But I just want to show you how a middle-class person, somebody that would contribute just $350 a month, that would be about 6% of somebody making 76,000. We can change any of these numbers, but $350 a month to become a millionaire, a multimillionaire in many cases, in the next certain periods of time. Let's again look at the 30-year period. 42% of the time you'd be a millionaire. After 35 years, 100% of the time you have $1,000,000. After 40 years, 100% of the time you have a million, and 95% of the time you'd have $2 million. But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. We just show you how, if you have the time, you can make it to $1,000,000. You can be a middle-class millionaire. These are not huge sums that you have to come up with. For example, let's say, for example, you can save $250 a month and you already have some saved up. Say you already have 25,000 saved up. We're just showing you what we can do on this channel. We're going to go ahead and update this. See how many times in a 40-year period. We'll begin a 35-year period because that's usually, I like to catch people when they're 30, 32 and younger, because then they have these time periods. So let the compounding effect work. You can see this graph here, how it just takes off. Again, this is somebody $250 a month, beginning with 25,000. If they would have done this in 1924, look at the kind of graph we're talking about. After 40 years, you would have 40 years right here, $3.7 million with just this scenario. $250 a month if you already have 25,000 saved up. Say, for example, you're 30 years old. Actually 27. 40-year column. Let's look at 35-year column. 100% of the time you'd be a millionaire. 50% of the time you have 2 million. 8% of the time you'd have 3 million. That's the 35-year column right here. You can see the worst case scenario for a 35-year period. Given this scenario, this is $250 a month, folks. So we haven't even increased that. That would be $1.4 million in the worst case. The median in this column would basically be $2 million. That's why 50% of the time you get to 2 million. What would happen if you just increase that $250 a month by 3% a year? We're going to update this. In other words, you're putting in 250, then 258, 265. You're increasing that as time goes on. You've already got 25,000 saved up. Folks, $250 a month. This is what the middle class can do to get to millionaire status in the future. In this case, we're just looking the next 35 years. For, say, for example, somebody is 32, full Social Security retirement age, 67. What would you have after 35 years? 100% of the time you have $1 million, 85% of the time you have 2 million, 15% of the time you have 3 million. That just shows you what we can do on this channel. Get started young so this compounding effect can take over. I want you to notice how this ran into a whole bunch of bad years, and yet look how you ended up if you just stuck with it, because that's what the S&P 500 has done over and over and over again over time. You just give it the time. Again, that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. I just wanted to show you this. These are the returns that we actually use. Are you really going to be any worse off than the 1930s in the next 30, 35, 40 years? Or the year 2000, we had a down decade? Seems like the decades always come back. The 50s came back, 80s came back, 90s came back, 20 teens came back. So if you're in it, you won't just catch the bad decades, you're going to catch the good decades also. But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. We love doing it. Please consider subscribing. Please share this channel with others. Please like the videos. And thanks so much for watching.